Yo, 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 Big Kish back up in here. Y'all know Kendrick Lamar just did an interview by one of his TDE comrades. And Chig Smooth is about to go over it. Matter of fact, we about to be reacting to Chig Smooth channel. And he just broke it down, y'all. Let me get this right quick. Hold on. And he's explaining the not like us meaning and some other things. It's for a magazine, y'all. Y'all know I don't like holding y'all. Will leave a link in the description. Y'all know I don't like holding y'all. Without further ado, let's get it.
Kendrick Lamar is now doing interviews as he sat down with Harper's Bazaar magazine. But obviously there has to be a little bit of a wrinkle with everything that Kendrick Lamar does. So this
Oh man, look at that jacket, man. He looked like Superfly.
interview, even though it was for this magazine, it was done at the request of Kendrick by SZA. They get into mental health and motivation, and Kendrick says his actions are not motivated by anger, but understands that love and war both deserve to be acknowledged. Not that they represent him, but he acknowledges that they both need to exist in the world. And of course, he would be asked about Drake and Not Like Us, and he would give his definition of what it means to him. What's up, y'all? It's your man Talkless World Report for the Chig Smooth channel. We got to talk about this. SZA didn't waste any time. As soon as they sat down, she starts off saying, I want to ask you about your mental health. Do you feel like you suffer from mental illness or experience it ever? Or do you just feel like you're in a multitude of feelings and you're not putting a label on it? Kendrick would say, I grew up with that term. I was hearing it when I was 5 or 6 years old. So you identify with it, but not as it? Then he says, my whole thing is, it's all experience. I say some shit on a record and identify with a moment, and then I don't identify with it anymore. That's just growth for me. All that shit is subjective. Then SZA says, it's giving self-therapy, which Kendrick replies, I think it's going back to my inner child, right? I was trying to understand myself, trying to find people I could relate to, how to identify myself outside myself. It sounds crazy to a lot of people. I really can see myself out of my body. When I do that, I have no judgment towards it. It's too many eyes on me to not remove myself. That shit is scary to anybody else. Which SZA focuses on and asks, are you scared? And he would say, no, because I've learned that I can't identify with my performances on stage. I can't hold my true whole identity to that person who's on stage. Because if I did, that means I would judge every movement, every time I mess up a lyric, every time I'm off key. It's too much to deal with. So I have to have a distance between the performer and the person I close my eyes and look at the ceiling with. I had to.
Y'all hear that? Y'all hear that for the Kendrick Lamar worshipers? Back when I say he do mess up, everybody mess up. It was people in the comment section like, no, it's impossible. He can't mess up. No, he never mess up. No, he can't. Bro, he's human. Yeah, we not doing that over here. I'm happy he said that.
To develop that tough skin at like 16 or 17 years old, not knowing it was not only for my career, but for myself. It's mentally ill for sure. And then the conversation gets a little more spiritual as before asking about God, SZA asks, have you done ayahuasca? And Kendrick says no, which she then replies to surprise saying, what? I wonder how you're arriving at all these conclusions. I want to talk to you about your spiritual practices.
Now, because he mentioned ayahuasca to Drake, he's like, I recommend you some ayahuasca to strip the ego from the bottom. Yeah, ayahuasca, yeah, man. I haven't tried it, but I seen my who was it? I think Mike Tyson, Joe Rogan, guys like that. They went out, go somewhere and try it or whatever. They say it's powerful, man. It replenish you, not amongst some other things as well.
How many spiritual practices contribute to your day-to-day? And he says, all day, every day. She says, all day is ceremony? And Kendrick gets personal saying, ain't no BS, ain't no cliche, but I literally talk to God. Like, it's to a point where I'll be starting to think I'm going crazy. But then he has to remind me, no, this is really me. Well, if that's true, and he does talk to God every day, how was Drake ever gonna win a rap battle against God? Drake said 20 versus 1, but I guess he missed a very important person. But Kendrick will continue, my early morning practice is that I have to run. When I started running, that's where I started to understand. There was this threshold of pain in the spirituality for me. I remember my shins was aching and I was like, I got 1 mile to go. Then I get whispers and downloads and start talking about shit that I want to know about. And next thing, I'm 3 miles in, 4 miles in. I wake up and do it every day. She says, loss of self, you have to break yourself. And he replied, I have to. And then SZA would try to dig deeper into his internal creative and spiritual practices. As she says, I'm grateful for the God T. Sidebar, what do you feel like your top 3 contributing factors to self-transformation in the last few years have been? And he says, the power of honesty and being honest with myself, perspective about the person sitting across from me, and learning that vulnerability is not a weakness. That last one probably been one I'm still developing. To that, SZA will ask which one was the most difficult, and Kendrick will talk about his childhood and how there is no growth without vulnerability. He says the last one was most difficult. She says why? And he replies, we talk about our childhood. I hate going back to that. It's traumatizing. My pops, he was tough. He was militant. As far as every day, you are expected to go to work, take care of your family, get back up to do it all over again. Being a man type shit, right? And he never showed no weakness. He never showed any emotion that could garner a one-up from the person sitting across from him.
Y'all go listen to, what is it, Father Time? The Daddy Issue song? Y'all go listen to that if you haven't heard it. It's fire. It's fire.
And I learned to experience that, not knowing I had them same traits, right? But for what I do, there is certainly no growth without vulnerability. If I understood the power of vulnerability earlier, I could have had more depth and more reach to the guys that was around me in the neighborhood coming up. You know, our parents, they never had these outlets to express themselves the way they wanted to. I've always looked at us as somewhat of a beacon of hope for them. I've always wanted to know, how does your mom feel about your self-expression? He would ask SZA. SZA would give a story about how her mom grew up and how SZA was able to give her mom freedom through her music. And Kendrick said, you did give her freedom. And SZA says, and she gave it to me. But she would turn that right into, when was the last time you cried? When was the first time you cried? And Kendrick would say, I would say the last time I cried was probably on Mr. Morale, on the Mother I Sober record. It was deep for me. SZA would ask, would you say you've done more crying recently than you have in your life? He said, now? Yeah, I have to. She said, it's cleansing. And he would reply, it might be easier for you though, which SZA replies to, I cry all the time. I'm gonna cry right now because that's just beautiful. Wait, you didn't tell me. What was the first time that you allowed it to happen? Which then Kendrick says, the first time I allowed it to happen is documented, actually on stage. In 2011, when Dre and Snoop and the whole West Coast was out, and they was like, this is the torch that we were handing off. Dre passed me the torch, and a burst of
Kendrick the crier, bro. It's like, nah, ain't no wrong.
energy just came out and I had to let it flow. My tears is all on the internet. And now I look back and I love that moment. I love that happened because it showed me in real time expressing myself and seeing all the work that I put forth actually come to life in that moment. And for those of you who don't remember, here is that moment.
Nigga, you got the torch, nigga. You better run with it. You better run with it, nigga, because it's yours.
What y'all think Game thinking?
Then after a couple more questions, she would get right into the real question that we all want to know. Can I ask you a hyper masculine question? You can also tell me to shut the F up. What does not
This it right here, y'all. For the moment we've been waiting for. This is it.
like us mean to you? He would laugh and say, not like us? Not like us is the energy of who I am, the type of man I represent. Now, if you identify with the man that I represent, SZA will cut him off saying, break that man down for me. And Kendrick was saying, this man has morals, he has values, he believes in something, he stands on something, he's not pandering. He's a man who can recognize his mistakes and not be afraid to share the mistakes, and can dig deep down into the fear-based ideologies or experiences to be able to express them without feeling like he's less of a man. If I'm thinking of not like us, I'm thinking of me and whoever identifies with that. SZA says, now, can I say something else in that realm? Or you want me to get away from that? Can I ask you something else? And hilariously, he asks, is it mean? She says, no, it's more like, I thought it was really interesting that there was any consensus at all that you might be an angry individual. For me, I don't find that any energy that comes from you comes from an angry place. And actually, the last hour and change pretty much solidifies that it's almost from a monk-like place. So when you feel the surge of energy in records like that, where is the root? Is it anger? And he would say, I don't believe I'm an angry person, but I do believe in love and war. And I believe they both need to exist. And my awareness of that allows me to react to things but not identify with them as who I am. Just allowing them to exist and allowing them to flow through me. That's what I believe.
That's very godlike, because the Bible say the Lord is a man of war. Exodus 15:3 says the Lord is a man of war, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it goes together. You have to have war, because there's people out here who try to destroy you. If you let them talk about some, turn the other cheek. Let anybody do anything to you and just turn the other cheek. You tripping. You tripping. You tripping. God always had his people go to war. God always taught his people to go to war. You got to go to war. But this soft shit they fed us in America, when they tricked the slaves and they read the Bible how they wanted it to be read and not how it was supposed to be read, that's what you see in these churches. All this soft shit. That's why you see nothing but women in churches now and shit. All this soft shit, because they still preaching the way that the slave masters told them to preach. They're not reading it for themselves. Now let me get off my tangent. Y'all know how boy.
And SZA says, I'm gonna quit while I'm ahead before I say something crazy. Do you think SZA did a great job? When she's done doing music, is being an interviewer or having a podcast something that you would want to see in her future? Let me know in the comment section. But her doing well here does not mean she would not have any backlash, as someone would say. So let me get this straight. SZA, who was on For All the Dogs two times, and known Drake for 10 years personally, interviewing Dot, her former label mate, about the PDF trafficking song. And she just didn't know his sick ass behavior the entire time? Do you agree with this? What do you think about the situation? Do you think more artists should do written interviews? Let me know in the comment section.
See stuff like that is taken away from the interview, because he said some powerful things in the interview. I don't know when the last time I cried. I guess I got daddy issues. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's a lot of good things to take away from that interview. And when you throw Drake in there and talk about PDF files and stuff, that just take away from the positive energy that he displayed in the interview, which I don't like. Like, yo, people out there, like, do you just want negativity, or do you want some positive energy as well? Because when you just automatically just glance over all of that stuff and just say, "Oh, let's talk about some negative stuff," it's like, yo, you got to check your spirit. What you about? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, let's meditate on the positive energy first. But yeah, y'all let me know what y'all think about it, and y'all go let me know if y'all heard that Father Time. Is it Father Time? I don't know the titles of songs, man. But I could rap the hell out of a song and won't know the title of it. I always been I can't tell you a title. I can't tell you what album it came from. None of that. But I could rap it. But yeah, y'all let me know what y'all think, man. Big Kish signing out. Gone. Oh yeah, I will leave a link in the description to Chig Smooth. He that was a pretty good. He read the whole thing. That was pretty good. Shout out to Chigs, man. Gone.